Purpose of the day. Now I'm going to review the definition of dilation, scale factor rules, and how to dilate a given polygon, and also how the scale factor affects I think, yeah, it's there. I don't know. Affects the perimeter and area. Okay, guys. Again, I'm repeating. In today's class, I'm going to review the definition of dilation, the scale factor rules, and how to dilate a given polygon, and how the scale factor affects the perimeter and area. Okay? Okay, so these are the points to be remembered. A dilation is a transformation that produces an image that is the same shape. Please remember, the shape remains the same as the original, but the size is different. But it is a different size. A dilation that creates a large image is called an enlargement or expansion. Enlargement or expansion. A dilation that creates a smaller image is called a reduction. If the scale factor is greater than 1, then the image is an enlargement. It expands. The given polygon expands. If the scale factor is between 0 and 1, then the image is a reduction. It contracts. In my previous classes, I explained that if the scale factor is negative, we get an image which is rotated through 180 degrees. Anyhow, we are not going to discuss questions on that in today's class. Scale factor equals to image over pre-image. This is the condition. I personally prefer to memorize this way, that is the first letter, which is S, then the first letter of image, which is I, and the first letter of pre-image, P. So the first letters are taken SIP. So if I ask you to what is the scale factor rule means, then you can remember SIP, which is scale factor equals to image over pre-image. Now let's do some problems on the whiteboard. So where is the whiteboard? Okay. So on the whiteboard here, let me click on this. Okay. The first question is, a triangle is given and you are asked to dilate this one. The scale factor is given as 1 over 2. So first of all, let's identify what are the coordinates of point M, U, and Y. So point M, let me number this as 0, -1, it's a -2, -3, -4, -5. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you take point M, it is on x-axis, you can see that at -5. On y-axis, I see that it is at 1. So point M is -5, 1. Let me increase the thickness. Next, point U. Here on x-axis, I see that it is on -1. So it's point U. X value is -1 and Y value, you can see that it is 3. So it is -1 and 3. Point Y, it is x-axis is -2, and on y-axis it is -1. I'm sorry, I did not label this one. It is -1. So -2, -1. And the scale factor is given that dilation of 1 over 2. So the scale factor is 1 over 2. So each and every point is to be multiplied by 1 over 2. So half of -5, then half of 1. So each and every value you have to multiply. So let's see what are the values. So half of -5, half of 5 is 5 over 2, or you can write as 2.5. You can make use of calculator. Then half of 1 is 0.5. So I'm multiplying this one. Half of 1 is 0.5. Now, when it comes to, my apologies, I forgot to label it as m prime. Now u prime values, half of -1, half of -1, that gives me -half or -0.5. Next, half of 3, that is 1.5. You may make use of calculator. Then coming to y prime values, half of -2, that gives me -1. Then half of -1, that gives me half, I'll say -0.5. So here you are asked to just compute, depending upon the question. If you are asked to plot or if you are asked to graph, then you may have to plot these points on the graph, and then that will be the final answer. But in this question, you are not asked to graph this one. So I'm going to the next question. This is almost same as the previous question. The value of D, H and V are not given. So let me label the coordinate plane. It is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -1, -2, 4, and 5. And below x-axis are below 0. These all are negative values. Above, these are positive values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now dilation of 2 means the scale factor is given as 2. Scale factor is given as 2. But before that, we have to identify what are the points here. So let me start with D. Point D. It is, I see that x value is 0 and y value is 2. I hope you know how to identify these. Next, point V, you can see that on x-axis it is -1, and on y-axis it is -1. So it is -1, comma -1. Next, point H, you can see that the value of x is 1. So the value of x is 1 and y value is 0 because it is lying on the x-axis. Now, the scale factor is given that 2. The scale factor is given 2. Therefore, 2 times, you have to take all these values. So 2 times 0, that gives me 0. Then 2 times 2, that gives me 4. This is D prime. Next, my V prime values are 2 times -1, -2. 2 times -1, that is also -2. Now H prime values, 2 times 1, it's 2. 2 times 0, that is 0. In the previous question, I did not graph the dilated points. But now here I'm going to plot these points. D prime, which is 0 comma 4, x is 0 and y is 4. So that lies here, that is D prime. Now V prime negative 2, x value negative 2 and y value negative 2. So these two are meeting at this one, so it is V prime. Next H prime 2 comma 0, you know how to plot. This is H prime. At the end, you join all these points, which is D prime, V prime, and H prime. Then you got the dilated triangle. Dilated triangle. Well, moving to the next question. This time, the diagram is not given. On a coordinate plane is not given, but the points are given. The points are given. Find the dilated coordinates. And here, friends, please remember K stands for this is the scale factor. This is the scale factor. Therefore, every point, just like the previous question, P negative 1 comma 2, Q is 3 comma 8, R 5 comma negative 10, S it is negative 5 comma negative 4. And you see that the scale factor is 3. So all these points or all these values are to be multiplied by 3. It is same as the previous question from here. So let me take maybe green, yeah. 3 times negative 1, that's negative 1. 3 times 2, that gives me 6. This is P prime, this is the dilated point. Then Q prime, 3 3s, 9. 3 times 8, 24. Next coming to R prime, 3 times 5, 15. 3 times 10, it's negative 30. S prime, 3 times negative 5, 3 5s are 15, so it's negative 15. 3 times negative 4, so 3 4s are 12, so it's going to be negative 12. Here there is no coordinate plane, so just we can say that this is the answer. But you have to be careful. During testing, you may be asked to figure out only one point. So you need not do all these calculations. Whatever the point is given, like you are asked to find S prime. So just compute only that part. If you are asked to find what is Q prime, you compute only that part. Okay. Moving to the next one. What are the new coordinate points for P and Z for the following? As I told you before, though there are 4 points, you are asked to find only 2 points, not all the points. See that only 2 points. So I need not bother about the other points. Let me take point P. It is negative 2 comma 2, and point Z, that is 1 comma negative 2. Friends, as I told you before, we need not compute all, because in this particular question you are asked to find only 2 points. And next, coming to the scale factor, I see that scale factor is 3 over 2. Therefore, these 2 points are to be multiplied with 3 over 2. Now, this is not going to be, if you can, then that's fine, or else make use of calculator. So 3 over 2 multiplied by negative 2. So There are two ways. Straight away you can multiply numerator with numerator. I mean, these two can be multiplied, then divide by 2. So 3 times 2, that gives me negative 6 over 2, which is negative 3. Or else, in the beginning itself, you can strike this way if you are good at math. Otherwise, use a calculator, you get here negative 3. Then, next, we are taking the same value, that's 2, except the sign. So we'll end up with the same, or else let me copy it again. 3 over 2 times 2. So 2 and 2 gets cancelled, then I'm left with 3. Or else you may multiply this one this way, like 3 over 2 times 2. Multiply numerator with 2, 3 2s are 6 over 2. That gives me 3. Anyhow, it's one and same. This is P prime. Now, Z prime is 3 over 2 times 1. As you know that if any value is multiplied by 1, we'll end up with the same value. So you can write 3 over 2, or else if you use calculator, then you may end up with a decimal value, which is 1.5. 3 over 2 times negative 2, already we multiplied earlier. I hope you remember, we multiplied here. So let me copy the same without wasting our time. See that though there are 4 points, in the given question, you are asked to compute only for 2 points, not all the 4 points. So you compute only those 2 points, and the rest it's not necessary. Okay? Okay, let me move to the next one. Graph the image of the figure using the transformation given. So, already explained in the previous questions, you know how to take these points. J, -1, -1, and U, 1, comma 3, W, 0, comma -2. And you see that the scale factor is given at 1.5. So you are expected to multiply with the 1.5 all these values. Okay, so when you multiply, what do you get? Means 1.5 times -1. Any value multiplied by 1, we get the same, but it's a negative sign. So negative 1.5. 1.5 times -1, we get negative 1.5. Next, 1.5 times 1. My bad, I forgot here to write as Z prime. U prime is 1.5. Then 1.5 times 3. You may make use of calculator. It's 4.5. Then W prime, 1.5 times 0, 0. 1.5 times -2. Make use of calculator. You get -3. You get -3. Now you have to plot these points. Not only the given points. Let's take points J, U, and W. Point J is -1, -1. Oh, I better to label these like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the left side, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Below 0, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Above 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now let me plot these points. Well, so the first one is -1, -1. I see that -1 is on left side. Okay, this is going to be my J. Next, U is 1, 3. U is X is 1. and y is 3. These two are meeting at this point, so this is u. Next, w is 0, negative 2. So 0, negative 2. This is w. If you are working on a paper, use a straight edge to join these points. Okay, so this is the original triangle. Next, we dilated this one, then those points are, you can see that j prime is negative 1.5, so that falls somewhere between negative 1 and negative 2. Likewise, on y-axis between negative 1 and negative 2, these two are meeting. So approximately it forms here, it's j prime, then u prime is 1.5, between 1 and 2, 1.5, and the value of y is 4.5, so between 4 and 5. So these two are meeting at this point. This is going to be u prime. W prime is 0 and negative 3. That is this one. As I told you before, if you are working on paper, use a straight edge to get right picture. So this is the one. This is approximately, I think the figure is slightly tilted, but if you use the proper values on the coordinate plane, then you get the right answer. Now, let me take another example. This time, you are asked to write a rule to describe each transformation. So, again, I'm repeating. In my previous classes, I mentioned you can choose any one point. Here, I prefer to take the positive values. So here I'm taking, say, 2 and the corresponding, I'm back. Okay, so the corresponding value is 3 here. Okay, so while writing a rule, please take the corresponding values. Why are you taking this one means I can take any point of my choice. For example, if I'm taking, say, negative 2, then the corresponding value is here. Shall I take x value or y value means it's up to you. And I don't like to take these values because they are decimals, slightly hard to compute. Okay, and again 0 and 0 also, it is really hard to compute. Like 0 times any value, we get the same, right? So either x value or y value you can take, but make sure that you are taking the corresponding values. So here, write a rule means technically you are asked to find the scale factor. So scale factor rule. I told you earlier, I like to remember this as SIP, SIP. So when SIP, the word comes into my mind, then what SIP means, the first letter of scale factor, the first letter of image, the first letter of pre-image, these three, I'm making it as a SIP. Okay. Now, image means the final product. The image means that's the final product. And next, pre-image means the original figure. Okay, you can choose any one value from the given coordinates. So image, I'm taking, say here 3, and pre-image, the corresponding value is 2, 3 over 2. You may leave it as it is, or else if you want to express as a decimal, that is 1.5. It is 1.5. So this is the scale factor. When some coordinates are given, this is how we compute. So let me take another example. Again, here you are asked to find the scale factor. As I told you in my previous problem, scale factor rule is SIP. So I, then P, I stands for image, and this one is the pre-image. So how to identify from the given diagram? My apologies, it is not specified. Say that triangle A is dilated to form triangle B. Let's assume that this is the given question. Suppose if A is dilated to form B means then I don't prefer to find the length of this one, because I have to use the distance formula. Instead of that, if there is a horizontal line or vertical line, it is easy to compute the number of blocks. So it is 1 block, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Therefore, it is 12 units. And when it comes to triangle B, the second one or the larger triangle, let me count the number of blocks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So, which is image and which is pre-image means the first one, that is the pre-image. The first one is the pre-image, and the second one, this is the image. This is the image. Therefore, image means that is B value. I have to take it 16. You have to be really careful while entering the values. I know that sometimes the students they get confused, and instead of image they write pre-image value, and instead of pre-image they write image value. So you have to be careful. This is 16 over 12. Then can you divide these values by any number? Means yes, I can divide by 2. I can divide by 2. So 16 divided by 2, that gives me 8. 12 divided by 2, 6. Can I divide by any other value? Yes. Again, I can divide both numerator and denominator by 2. So 8 divided by 2 and 6 divided by 2. So this is the scale factor. Suppose, just assume that if the given question is, say, triangle A, triangle B, triangle B is dilated to form triangle A. If this is the question, the first one is the pre-image. This is the pre-image, and the next one, the latter one, is the image. Okay. So once again, scale factor condition. You know that SIP. So that is image over pre-image. So image means this time it is A. So A means that is the small triangle you can see here in the diagram. So that is image is 12, and pre-image is that is, you can see that it's B. Therefore, B you can see here, that is 16. Can you divide the numerator and denominator? Of course, you can divide either by 2, but I know that these 2 can be divisible by 4. So 12 divided by 4, 16 divided by 4. Then this is the scale factor. See that here 3 over 4 and here it is 4 over 3. You have to be careful what the question is. Is A, triangle A is dilated to form B, or is triangle B dilated to form triangle A? This is what you have to study carefully. Okay, next, moving to the next one. Write a rule to describe each transformation. Friends, write a rule means already I mentioned earlier that technically the question is find the scale factor. Find the scale factor. So scale factor equals to SIP. So it is I stands for image, P stands for pre-image. Now, what is the length of TR, T prime, R prime, and TR? So here I have to use the distance formula. Because if it is horizontal line or vertical line, it is easy to count the number of blocks. But here these all are slanting lines. Therefore, I have to use the distance formula, that is x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square under the square root. But it consumes a lot of time. Instead of that, I prefer to take just any one point, like I'm taking R here and R prime. So let's see what are the values of R here. So R, I'm sorry, here it is not labeled, so 0, 1. I see that x value is 2 and y value is also 2. So R is 2, 2. Next, R prime, that is on x-axis it is 4, on y-axis this is 4. So it is 4, 4. So by looking at the question itself, you can say that how many times? How many times means, it's funny because 2 times 2, 2 times 2 that gives me 4, or 2 times 2 that gives me 4. Or else, I can say that the scale factor is 2 here simply. Otherwise, if you want to follow the same traditional way, image. Friends, remember the first one R, this one represents the pre-image. The first one R represents pre-image, and R prime represents this is one of the vertex of the image. So image value is 4 here and pre-image value is here 2, 4 over 2. That gives me 2. This is the scale factor. Okay? Okay. Right. And next, identify the center of dilation. Identify the center of dilation. So here, if you are asked to find which is the center of dilation, is it point A, point B, point C? Which is the center of dilation means it's easy. Take a straight edge, join N prime and N. So you have to join the corresponding points and further you extend. Okay, so here this point I joined, and further you have to extend them. Okay, you take otherwise let's do one thing. Let me label them as this one is some P Q R, and here maybe P prime, this is Q prime, and this one is R prime. Okay, then let's take a straight edge, join PP prime. Oh my, okay, I think I marked in a wrong way because, friends, please notice that here n and n prime are given. So let me label this n as here this is P, this is Q, and this one is R, and this one is P prime, this one is Q prime, and this one is R prime. Now let me take a straight edge and join these P prime and P, and you extend further, then Q prime and Q, and further you extend, R prime and point R, and further you extend. I see that these all are passing through point C. So what is the center of dilation means? That is point C. Okay, right? So let me take one more question on this. Here L prime, there are two quadrilaterals. So let me label this as P, Q, R, S. And the corresponding points, as you can see that L prime is given. So it's going to be P prime, Q prime, R prime, and it is S prime. Okay, then take the straight edge, join P prime, and further you extend. Okay, then join Q prime, and further extend R prime, and extend S prime. So technically you are taking all the points, and then you are extending. You see that all these points are meeting at one particular point. This point is called as a center of dilation. I repeat, this point is called as a center of dilation. So this point is the center of dilation. Okay, then let me take a couple of questions. Rectangle ABCD is dilated, guys. So here rectangle ABCD is dilated by a scale factor 3/2. And what is the perimeter of A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime? So first of all, let's see what is the length of this rectangle. And what is the width of this rectangle? Length is, I see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So length is 6 units. Width is 1, 2, 3, 4. It is 4 units. Now you are asked to find the perimeter. So perimeter means, this is 6 units and this is 4, and opposite sides are equal. Therefore, this is 4 and this one is 6. So there are two ways. One is perimeter equals to twice length plus width, or else if you are not comfortable, you can take sum of all the sides. Or else you can take the other method is perimeter equals to twice L plus B. So just plug in the values. Length is 6, width is 4, 6 plus 4. We follow PEMDAS. 2 times 10, that gives me 20 units. Or else sum of all the sides, you take 6, 6 here, then 4 here, then 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4, that gives me 10 plus 6, 16 plus 4, 20. So either way you get the same result. But the second one, perimeter of dilated, so perimeter of new polygon or dilated polygon equals to, we have to multiply scale factor times perimeter of a given polygon. In this case, it is a rectangle. Okay, so I know the scale factor is here 3/2 times what is the perimeter of the given means just now we computed and we got this one is 20 units. So just let me plug in here. So you may make use of calculator. 3 times 20, that gives me 60. 60/2, that is 30. So it is 30 units. You have to be careful between perimeter and area. Okay, one more question. This time you are asked to find the area. You are asked to find the area. Okay, the scale factor is also given here. I see that 1/3. So first of all, let me find what is the area of the given shape is a triangle. Area of a triangle equal to half times base times height. So half times base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. I'll have to count the blocks instead of finding the distance. Height is 1, 2, 3, 4. So half of 5 times 4, that gives me 20. You know, half of 20, that is 10 square units. So this is not the answer. You may be tricked. If you are given multiple choice questions, especially when you see that the option A may be 10 units. But here it is dilated. It is dilated. So triangle PQR is dilated, and you are asked to find area of P prime, Q prime, R prime. It is scale factor times area of a given triangle. Okay, most of you may make this mistake. Please be careful. You have to take that scale factor square times area of the given polygon. Please remember, scale factor square times. When it comes to perimeter, you have to multiply with the scale factor. I agree. You have to multiply scale factor times perimeter to get the perimeter of the dilated polygon. But when it comes to area, you have to take scale factor square. So scale factor is 1/3 square. What is the area of the given triangle means? That is 10 units. So 1 square, that is 1. 3 square is 9 times 10. So 1 times 10, that is 10/9. These many square units. Okay, so